yo, 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 yo. You guys should be able to see my screen, no? Guess what time it is, baby. Let me just do a quick chat check here. Alrighty, we're streaming on both. Let's see. Let's move this over here. Where's my chat? There we go. Alrighty. Dude, I ain't gonna lie, I have seen a little bit of the trailer, but I have not been able to stream lately because I started a new role at my job, so yeah, I was a bit tired. But I'm not late to the party, which is good, and I do have some takeaways. So we're gonna be streaming today. We're gonna be taking a break from the Claptrap playthrough. We might play a little bit later on, but the main focus today is going to be like reacting and analyzing the trailer because there's so much to unpack, good and bad. I ain't gonna lie, there are some things that are gonna me worried, but if you have not seen the trailer, I would strongly suggest you check it out. Both of them actually. I think there's also like a minute and a half trailer. That is just the usual announcement trailer instead of the gameplay one. We are going to be looking at the gameplay one for sure. So, real quick, let me just go ahead and check volume. Let me just open OBS and check volume real quick to make sure that you guys can actually hear it correctly. Alright, there we go. I think that's good, right? Alrighty. So, thankfully, no DMCA. I'm not gonna get flagged by this, thankfully. But, yeah. I mean, let's just go ahead and watch a little bit. I will be pausing. Remember, this is more of a reaction / analysis instead of just the usual watching it without any sort of commentary. For that, I think you can go ahead and watch it on your own for sure. So yeah, expect it to be more of an analysis more than anything. Well, let's get into it.
Heyo, I'm Randy Pitchford, founder of Gearbox Entertainment. Today, we're giving you our deepest look yet at Borderlands 4. All the excitement, loot, and gnarly carnage all running on PlayStation 5
That shirt is fire, by the way.
Since creating the looter-shooter genre nearly 16 years ago, we've continued to refine the formula, delivering better loot, greater freedom, and endless mayhem. And with Borderlands 4, we push things even further.
This is hands down our best Borderlands ever. All new movement.
Oh, the hook. The hook? It seems to be more of what's the game that I was playing? I don't remember the name, but I think Avowed, where there are some mechanics for specifically grappling hooks, but it is a static one. It's not like you can just go ahead and do like a Spider-Man or something where you can just do it in any wall. There seems to be, or it will be most likely like right here, like this will most likely be a static point in, I would say, or I would assume, a static spawn point for it. Like in every single playthrough, you will always have a grappling point right here, for example. You will not like change this to be maybe like in here or like in here, right? It's always going to be in this area most likely. But yeah, grappling has most likely been one of the most asked features because in Borderlands at least you don't have fall damage, for example, for quite a while, I think. So there's no reason for to not be able to do vertical movement, right?
Movement, abilities, bigger and badder enemies, and a brand new planet. All in service of making you feel like a total badass.
It's the perfect entry point for new players, with incredible new places and a great story. And for our longtime Borderlands fans,
Something that I wanted to show, like right here. Actually, this is the
with
screenshot, but
incredible new places and a great story.
let me
And
just
for
like right here. The weapons are not really showcasing, for example, their manufacturer. For example, if I would see this first time I'm seeing this, I would say this is probably doll, like a doll assault rifle, but it's full auto. I know there are, I believe, 2 new manufacturers. One that will replace the usual lasers, well, the charged up lasers from Build 3, and I believe one that is supposed to be like the all around best, but not like extremely good in certain areas, right? So it's going to be like the usual middle of the ground that can't do anything, right?
our longtime Borderlands fans,
But yeah, right here, I like to show this.
our longtime Borderlands fans,
We do have rockets back, so most likely it's going to be like a torque weapon, but it is not like a spinning barrel. It was like an under barrel. So
and for our longtime
this.
Borderlands fans,
like I see this more of like an attachment, like as an under barrel attachment, and this being the true barrel of the weapon, right? This is something that I really catched up into, and we're gonna touch about it later on because there are technically like ways to switch your weapons similar to BL3. Like certain assault rifles can turn into rocket launchers, for example, and certain snipers can turn also into rocket launchers like in BL3. But yeah,
we're throwing back to our more grounded tone while pushing gameplay
the enemies look
ahead further
awesome,
than
dude.
ever before.
They look so good.
This is the culmination of years of hard work from my teammates across the Gearbox studios. So enough talk, let's get it. This is Borderlands 4.
This is Borderlands 4. Alrighty, so before we continue, I really want to throw this out there. There are 3 things that I'm really missing within the Borderlands franchise since the release of BL3. The reason why I play Borderlands is to farm, right? But the farming method that I like is what most of the industry really does. For example, games like Warframe, WoW, for example, something that I also play, and Dark Souls or the Souls series as well, that is really successful. I want dedicated loot drops. I really want this. BL3 was in this middle of the ground space where you would be able to sometimes farm from dedicated bosses for certain weapons, but you could technically get any weapon within any boss. So there was no incentive to farm in different areas. You should just go to I don't really remember the name of the boss, and I actually farmed it for such a long time too. The big tree wall boss, I believe that's like your second or first vault boss in BL3. You technically just farmed that. They had one of the better loot drop chances, so you would get like a lot of legendaries on that. But farming something for like 25-30 hours and farming the same boss for that amount of time to get basically your entire gear set is not really interactive to me. I like personalizing my build to farm specifically a certain boss. I love actually knowing that that certain boss has a different kit than the others, of course, and I will be able to min max the fastest way to kill it to farm for my best in slot, for example, or anything, or any weapon that I really like to actually get. So for me, I really need dedicated drops. That is like main point. Point number 2, visualization of vault hunters. I think this has been happening probably since BL3 too, where I just look at the vault hunters and they just look at like the same to me. I think there are exceptions to it. For example, like if I see Amara, I know that's her because she's a siren. But I look at the other vault hunters and they just have like the same tone of clothing. Their abilities are really toned down visually. Like color wise, for example, you would see something like Salvador, and Salvador is entirely different to someone like Zero, right? Even in the way they talk and approach the game too, like dialogue and stuff like that. In the pre-sequel, you would see someone like, let's say, Wilhelm, and then you see Athena, that bright red color, and then you see Aurora, right? Visually, you immediately know which character is the main or their main kid, for example, just by looking at it. You would see Flack, and Flack literally has no identity. The only identity Flack has is the pet. Outside of that, it's just like, okay, he's a hunter, and he sometimes places traps, and he does a lot of damage while he's invisible. But the character itself is just, I mean, it could have been any robot, and I wouldn't have noticed that it's a hunter or not. So that's like point number 2. And point number 3, it's the overall audacity weapon wise. For example, I think within the pre-sequel, this is like a really big mistake, because it's more of like a DLC to build 2, to be honest. Where certain weapons are just a copy paste from the previous game. Build 3 didn't have much of like ingenuity weapons wise, outside of, I would say, Tedior. Like Tedior had this weapons that literally turn into robots to fight for you. They can turn into turrets to fight for you, instead of just being like, hey, chuck a nade, right? So that was a good step. But then you have things like that are really hard to, I guess, exchange. For example, Jacobs has been the same, but that's the theme. You're like a cowboy basically. But Maliwan, for example, when it came to Maliwan Build 3, the only thing that it was changed is just like, hey, you might be able to shoot like a big ball, like a really big slow ball that damages in an area. And that's basically it, right? So I know it might seem like I'm trashing a lot on Build 3, but when compared to the likes of Build 2, which is the main game that I've played, like again, like 2,500 hours on Build 2, only on Steam, it's really apparent how their entire focus on Build 2 was guns and gun identity. And in Build 3, it was more of like, well, we had the formula, let's just play it safe. So that's the three things that I really want to see in Build 4. Like more identifiable characters, dedicated drops, and more ingenuity in weapons, which I think I really saw a push forward on that in the trailer. By the way, the map looks gorgeous.
Borderlands is an unforgiving sci-fi universe where life is cheap and guns are plentiful. You play as a vault.
Like, this is what I mean, right? So, character-wise, like, okay, I would understand that this is more like a cyborg kind of guy. This is definitely the Siren. Like, you could just immediately tell she's the Siren. This guy is just like a tank or whatever. And this one has literally no identity. Like, no identity. I have no idea by looking at her what she can do. When I see like pipes and stuff like that, plus these sort of I guess accessories, I would assume that she has the ability to like jump really high or be like really speedy or buff herself with like injections or something. But like, for example, this guy could have been changed for any big guy. When you compare this to Salvador, you see Salvador and you immediately notice like he's a little bit like tanned, so he's more he's like pushing into more of a Latino sort of character. Plus his clothes are really ragged, so you know that he's coming from like a humble background. But when I see this, I know that he's just like a mercenary, and he's just really buff, right? When seeing this guy, I think this is a good example of decent character model, where you see that of course he has like a turret or something like that. He's extremely mech oriented, like the lights and stuff like that. You also see, for example, the arms are completely buff, so most like you will have like recoil reduction or stuff like that in your kit. But yeah, this and this could have been exchanged for any character, and it would have been the same result.
Hunter, a badass mercenary with powerful abilities called action skills.
Today I'm playing as Vex.
Oh,
new
she's so
Cyber.
badass too.
She wields supernatural phase energy to devastating effect. She can use that energy to empower herself, or channel it to conjure deadly minions that fight alongside her.
Minion.
And because everything's better in co-op, I'm joining as Rafa, a former TDR soldier who wears an experimental exosuit. He can destruct an arsenal of weapons, like the razor-sharp arc knives.
These are 2 of our 4 new Vault Hunters that you can play at launch.
So something that I wanted to like show real quick.
These are 2.
Look, this is of course like a Jacob shotgun, with a blade, so probably like extra melee damage.
2 of our 4 new Vault
But
Hunters
also, when they are shooting at him, I don't know if it's the shield or if it's just like an ability that he has. But look at the particles. Like when they hit her, there's no particles. But when the enemies hit him, look at this. There's particles. Normally, when there's so many particles, it's because it's an ability, right?
new Vault Hunters that you
And as you can see, like there was like a sort of a shield image right there.
Borderlands
Oh, Elpis too. I mean, casually we're actually playing the pre-sequel, so yeah, it's quite ironic to see that this is now Elpis. Like I'm trying to literally save Elpis right now on my Claptrap playthrough, and the game is just like, nah, dude, Elpis is just doomed right now. Like your work was for nothing.
4 takes place on Kairos, an all-new planet steeped
Oh
in
yeah.
conflict. For thousands of years, the Timekeeper kept the planet hidden, controlling its inhabitants with bolts, cybernetic implants fused to their spines. Anyone who stepped out of line was brutally crushed by his army of synthetic soldiers known as the Order.
The Order.
That is until 6 years ago when Elpis showed up.
Yep.
This rogue moon was teleported away from Pandora at the end of Borderlands 3 by the legendary Vault Hunter Lilith. When it reappeared across the galaxy,
Now, I do see, for example, that the usual art style has been really, really, really touched up in this game. For example, in BO3, I think a lot of the colors would just mesh together. Again, that is sort of like the same critique that I have been pushing before in like characters and stuff. But this time around, colors seem more vibrant. Like your yellows and your reds seem
it
really
crashed
vibrant.
into the protective veil around Kairos. The results were devastating. A planet-wide cataclysmic event that disrupted the Timekeeper's perfect order.
Destroy what?
Event that disrupted the Timekeeper's perfect order.
Destroy. Destroy. Repent. Interesting.
Now people all across Kairos have started rising up,
Get 'em, get 'em.
some even ripping out their bolts.
Ooh, loot.
And
Let's check out the loot.
some
So, that is definitely not a legendary. I think that's more of a health kit. And that is, I think, an epic weapon right there. But it's interesting because,
even ripping out
I mean, who are the ball hunters right here? Or is it just like random
all
allies, for
across
example?
Kairos have started rising up, some even ripping out their bolts.
Because, I mean, these are not ball hunters, that's for
And
sure.
chunks of their brain along with it. That's the
Oh, that has to be a
and
boss,
chunks of their
right?
brain along with it.
The hairstyles are really crazy too. Like they're so crazy. But he doesn't even have an arm at all too. I think that's a head.
That's the situation our Vault Hunters have crash landed into. A planet ready to explode, and you're the spark. As you explore, you'll meet a cast of
Sheesh.
incredible characters. Fan favorites return,
Mara.
like Zane and Moxie.
Dude, having Zane, like Zane is sort of oldish in BO3, but now he's old, right? And Moxie has not been nerfed, so that's cool to see. But she looks more mature for sure, and I think that's with intent, right? It's mainly her face. She looks more mature in her demeanor mainly.
Moxie.
What is that? Carcadia? Is that what it says? Carcadia. I mean that's a hamburger, but Carcadia. I mean it's not Concordia, that's for sure.
You'll also meet new friends like Rush.
Oh
And as always,
no!
Claptrap's
Damn it!
along for the ride.
I mean we're playing Claptrap right now. I can't really say much.
Last but not least is Echo 4. This helpful drone follows you everywhere, hacking order tech, scanning the environment, and helping guide you to
So, normally we're definitely the ones doing most of the opening, outside of just having like a Claptrap or something. It has been sort of a meme in the Borderlands community that if you have to open a door, I mean, you better have a Claptrap, right? But what I'm really intrigued about is scanning the area. Will you be able to just upgrade your little body, I guess? Because why would I want to scan the area? Normally when you see in games that you want to scan an area, you would assume is either you can see enemies through walls, or like in terrain, they will be tagged, or you'll be able to see like hidden loot if you scan the area around you, right? Sometimes you might be able to find like a secret entrance because it sort of outlines the area, so you might see like, hey, already through this passage there seems to be like a really big outline that has the resemblance of a door. But yeah, this is always like a hit or miss, because it could be like a helper, like a really annoying helper, such as, let's say, the Wisp in The Legend of Zelda, where there's not much value in that, just sort of guiding you, but it talks a lot. Or it could be sort of like a Destiny piece where your ghost is extremely important to the storyline, right? So, yeah.
But enough of all that.
Barrels, so shock barrel. I think this is like an ammo crate. Well, this might be like an explosive barrel. This is a fire barrel. There's a lot of barrels, dude. You guys know I am not. I do not pair well with barrels. There's explosive, fire, 2 shock ones. Interesting,
Let's get
interesting.
into the game.
Now, I have seen a lot of people sort of complaining about the UI or the HUD, I guess. This as the main HUD, I think it's fine. Also, by the way, welcome recruits, just saying. But the main thing that you guys actually need to know about the HUD is what the information actually provides. So we do have the usual ones. This it's new, matchmaking. Why would we have matchmaking, right? Is there like a new PvP mode, or maybe we can just pair with someone that is around our same level and is playing online? Also a split screen, that's huge, of course. I mean, Borderlands is always one of the best games to play co-op, so having couch play is always really good too.
For our improved lobby system, it's easier than ever to join up with your
But yeah,
friends
like I don't really mind this, right? Like I think this as the main menu. I'm gonna say that as the main menu, this doesn't look bad.
on the fly. And with full crossplay at launch, you can play with your friends on any
Yeah,
platform.
2 full crossplay. That's awesome.
Today, we're venturing into Terminus Range, a frigid, mountainous region.
This is just one of the 4 zones on Kairos that you can seamlessly explore. There's next to no loading time, just endless looting and shooting mayhem.
For our current mission, we
Alrighty.
need to
So here's where the HUD is not that good. Something that Borderlands 2 does really well is showcasing elements and showcasing your damage, your health, your shields as well via the HUD. For example, this as your level is just so underwhelming. it feels so underwhelming compared to the bar here. Plus, these two being the same size, that's something that I don't really like. I like seeing like, hey, I'm using like a really good shield, like a big one. Let's say like a pangolin shield. I'm using a pangolin shield. I want to see this bard be triple the size of my HP, for example. Maybe I'm using something like a Tier shield. Then I want to see my HP be way larger than this. So yeah, I don't like this. Something that it's really good though, this right here, Potent Alchemist on the bottom. That suggests we might have named class mods in Borderlands 4. I think that's really cool. That's something that really provides you a sense of wonder when you're playing. Like, I'm playing Claptrap and I see Audacious Snapper. I know I'm playing like a really cool explosive build, for example. So, two, I mean, also, it's going to be mentioned later, but medkits are back. I don't know why medkits are back. There is two things that comes to my mind when seeing this. It's either there are no abilities or weapons to be healed by, so you really depend on using the medkits to stay healthy outside of possible just injection drops like in your usual Borderlands games. The last and only time that we got medkits was BL1, where you would have both. Basically, you would be able to heal via just looking at injections within the surrounding area or looting it in drops. But you could also buy medkits, right? And there will be like tangible items in your inventory that you could use within the menu. But that's interesting too. Something that I don't really like is this weapon wheel. It's really clunky. The map looks fine, I think. I know they're going for the story aesthetic of robots and sentience and stuff like that, AI things like that, right? But this is not good. This is really clunky too.
Break into a secret black site located deep in the mountains. One of the Timekeeper's generals, Vile Lichter, has been conducting grotesque experiments on locals. It's up to us to stop it.
Ooh, experiments.
Alright, let's get moving. Here I'm using Glide,
Oof, Glide.
abilities.
That's really good.
Along with dash, double jump, climbing, and point grapple.
Also,
these
like
make getting
wall
around-
climbing, it's sort of unlocking the map for you. I mean, of course, I really like grenade jumping. You guys know that, but this could unlock a plethora of skips if you have like grenade jumping, rocket jumping, plus gliding, plus double jump, which
and
you're
more
going
fun,
to see
and
soon.
add a ton of utility to combat.
As you traverse, you'll uncover a vast and beautiful world.
Yeah, double
And to
jumping
bring
is
highlights
really
to life,
good.
We've introduced dynamic weather and events.
It's sort of if you have double jump and slide and wall riding and gliding, you might be able to dodge more stuff, which actually provides more flexibility to the developers while creating bosses, for example. I think, I mean, if you guys have seen the trailer before, you guys know the boss that I'm talking about. We will see it like literally in the end of the gameplay trailer. But there's a lot of verticality, a lot of dodging that you have to do. So these tools are made specifically, I would say, to make the developers more flexible on the sort of fights and the mechanics that you need to clear in order to kill that boss. Also, just mentioned by the the narrator, we will have weather changes and like interactable environments that can change from time to time. I hope when they mean weather changes is not modifiers, because I really hated BL3 modifiers. I want to talk about that later.
So you constantly have new things to discover.
There's also plenty of local wildlife to contend with, like these crash. Flying beasts
Oh
who
my
attack in
god, they're
flocks.
like flying chameleons. What is that, dude?
Here we've come across a silo, one of
So-
several.
This is something interesting to see. Buffs, you'll be able to see them right here. I think the icons look really good, but the blue on white background is specifically in this area. This is what I mean by we need vibrant colors. Why not have like a white skull with a red area like this and a yellow arrow? People would see yellow and they always think, or green for example, they always think up, right? A positive benefit. And red means a lot of damage for most players, right? Or like damage is the main thing that comes to mind. Danger, right? So of course this seems to be like more damage, probably like more crit or something, or better accuracy maybe. But this white background, like white on light blue and then white, it's really hard to see when you're playing. And this is something that Borderlands 3 also suffers of, where there's so much stuff going on in particles and physics, for example, that you literally can't see your buffs. Also, really important, right here. I don't think this is necessary. You can just check your reload on the weapon when you use it, or in the menu. I don't think this is strictly necessary unless this is a mechanic, for example. If it's a mechanic where you can reload faster for some reason, or anything like that, with an input or something, well, I think that's important, but like this is not really necessary. It just seems like clutter to me. Also, icons. So directions are back, so south, west, north, and east. This seems to be like a bolt icon for like the main story, of course. There's like two of the same dollar signs, but one has an injector. I believe this is the same injector than your medkit, and this seems to be a weapon, so maybe they're caches close to you.
Activities in Borderlands 4.
And last thing that I'm seeing is the mode. I mean, this is something that they introduced in BO3, where you could switch modes on specific weapons. Again, you could turn like snipers. I believe Blood Off is the one that did this. You can change snipers into one-shot rocket launchers. You could turn like assault rifles into spread rifles. You could turn them into like a tripod motion and have more accuracy, but couldn't move that fast. You could change shotguns too, elements as well, for example. So it seems to be back to, because it's not like full auto mode. It says literally assault rifle mode. So it's a different weapon, not like a type of weapon, if you know what I mean.
You'll naturally discover short gameplay experiences like this all across Kairos. There's no need to pick up a mission first. These are
Now, this really looks like a vending machine, but it seems to be offline. I don't know why, right? Most likely when the robot comes in and activate this, they might turn on, but yeah, those really look like vending machines.
First, these are auto-granted and tracked on your HUD.
Silos house old.
Also, that's a new icon. What is that? It seems to be similar to the dollar ones, but I think it's just the console. Maybe this icon means console, that the robot can actually sort of decrypt or capture. Yeah, look at that. I think that's it. Death Ray claim command console. It's the same icon.
You can hijack for the Crimson Resistance.
With the help of Echo 4, we'll hack into their network and release the communications balloon.
Dude, Echo 4 is so cute though. Silo complete. This is something that I really noticed when watching the trailer back. What is this currency? Like, what does acquired 40 mean? Did you receive XP when finishing that? No, you didn't receive XP on that. So it seems to be just like a currency that we have no idea what it is right now. Interesting. So the silo opens, and a rocket, or that seems there were ships in BL3 that had this sort of ring to it, and they would like teleport armies and stuff like that. So yeah, there's the vending machines. Look at that. That's probably ammo.
Now that we're in charge,
And that's health. See, this is what I mean though. If you compare this to the BL2 machines, the BL2 machines, the entire machine was personalized. Here is just a screen.
we can fast travel to the silo.
Oh, that was trippy.
Now that we're in charge, we can fast travel.
Frigid Overlook. Is that the fast travel?
Now that we're in charge,
Right there? That might be the fast travel too. Yeah, like that icon probably right there. That blue one.
we can fast travel to the silo.
That's trippy. So the thing is that this UI seems so, again, like cybernetic and stuff like that. But I mean, I guess it's just a map, right?
And as a bonus, it's revealed the approximate location of a vault key fragment. We can
A vault key fragment, dude. Fragment. Are there going to be like a lot of vaults here?
collect these fragments to unlock a hidden vault.
Hint area. There is a vault fragment hidden somewhere in this area. Okay.
A high-level dungeon with challenging combat and serious loot.
Serious loot. Okay. Oh, the radios are here. Those are like the radios from Bill 2, no? With the same button?
Let's get after it.
Okay, so do I see anything in the area that is interesting? Not really. I do see an enemy right there. There's no full damage. That's really big.
Another nice
There's a loot thing over
thing
here.
about silos is you can zip line up and take off.
Oh, there's the zip line. Okay. So I guess that mechanic is made to not have a lot of static gameplay after you gather the information. So like the last step what we did is well what Echo 4 did was decrypt like the console or whatever that gave us information that shot up the silo, and then the silo spawned that sort of balloon thingy that you can grab into. Then you can grab into it immediately and sort of glide into the next like POI really fast.
And if that's not fast enough for you, you can always pull out your personal vehicle.
Oh, the vehicles, dude.
Just hop on.
Alrighty, so HP boost. I see a machine gun right there too. You can jump with it. Look at that that R1. Actually, let me just move the mascot, our mascot, real quick for this. Look at that. There's like a jump thing. So boost is with what, circle, and R1 seems to be like a jump pad or something.
Hit boost and get rolling.
You can customize the body, paint job, and even how it handles.
Oh, nice. Oh, is that a fast travel? Seems like it, no?
You can customize
The machine seems
body,
like a fast
paint
travel.
job, and even how it handles.
I mean, flags normally mean checkpoint, so it might just be like a save point for you. Maybe if you die, you will come back here. But that looks awful. Look at the antenna. That looks so close to the BL3 fast travel
And
too.
because this is Borderlands, you best believe it has guns.
Oh, you guys see that? There was an invisible enemy right there, I
And
think.
because this is Borderlands,
Like over
you
here?
best believe it has guns.
Yeah, look, did you guys see that over there? Maybe they are like
As you traverse, you'll encounter a host of dynamic events.
the
From
spike
border patrols
spike
to world
guys.
bosses, there's always something to shoot.
World bosses too.
and
Interesting.
loot.
There's the boost. There's another flag there. I mean, if it shows so blatantly in your map, I guess they really want you to go into like every single one of those flags. Vault tracking. You've received the vault signal. Check your map to see the area where the signal is coming from.
All right, We're coming up on
Plus,
an order out.
what is this, like a difficulty meter? This might be like a difficulty meter for it. 2 out of 4
Let's
bars.
see the new movement abilities in action.
Incendiary synth armature. That's a barrel. There it is. Also, did I see that correctly? Okay, so yeah, they're max. They're max. Infiltration engine. Interesting. Cryogenic badass eradication armature. So they have elements, but they seem to be more of like modifiers. So the other one was fire. This one is cryo. Okay, that was a grenade. Damn, the guy's tanky. Oh, that was a dodge. Did you guys see that? We can dodge now. That was definitely like a manual input dodge. That right there. And you have, like, is that stamina? What is that? Why is it lower? Was it used when they threw the grenade? Oh, it's with the glide. Oh, okay, so basically it's mostly like a jetpack, I guess. So when you glide, you use that stamina. And then you can dash, like, right here. Boom. Damn, that's a lot of stamina that you use with, with dodging. Wow.
Chaining our new traversal abilities together makes combat more dynamic than ever. You can dash in
Alrighty.
and out of melee attacks.
Was that ammo?
Makes
Okay, when he
chaining our
died.
new traversal abilities together.
No, that's definitely not ammo. So that seems like a barbed weapon, an epic
Makes-
one, and I think that was like a grenade mod.
Combat more dynamic than ever.
That does seem like ammo.
You can
though.
dash in and out of melee attacks, dodge projectiles.
Okay, so there's injectors. Look at that. There's the money. Those two white ones, most likely they are ammo. A green one it's either like a weapon or something. But there are injectors on the ground. So if there are injectors on the ground, what's the purpose of the medikit, right?
Are quickly repositioned to gain an advantage.
Synth armature taking. Taking seems like they explode when they die, right? There's a grappling. Dude, the bulkhead looks awesome too. I really like this. Like this is the enemy design that I expect from Borderlands. A really wacky design. Okay, so there's radioactive, right? Radioactive synth armature chain master. So that's probably like a buff, right? Like a buff modifier. This seems so like awfully similar to, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the game, but Path of Exile, where when the game becomes more difficult, you will see the same enemies but with small modifiers. I know BL3 has them, but BL3 is just like a standard one for everyone. These ones have different modifiers depending on the enemy, right? Oh, throw, what was that? Oh, you can grapple things and throw them? Okay. That's cool. Oh, that was a different shot. Did you guys see that? Boom. Like a shotgun shot, but it's a pistol. See? This is what I mean. That was a pistol and that looked like a shotgun shot. No, that's an assault rifle. They threw something right there, probably like a canister. That was like the grenade too. The grapple. Okay.
Now I know that there's a vault fragment around here somewhere, but we've got a mission to get back.
Okay. See, now here's when the HUD seems really like unimaginative. I have seen this so many times in like Ubisoft games, and Ubisoft is known for having the same exact menu for like every single one of their Assassin's Creed. It's just like a copy paste, but I mean, I understand that I'm gonna get either the probability of an epic or rare pistol, a skin, XP, and money. But this normal. Now, does this mean that I'm on level to the mission, or that I can change on the fly my difficulty? I know you can change difficulties on the game similar to like BL3, but am I able to do it on the fly?
Let's pull out Echo 4 to show us where to go.
That's a real question.
We're meeting up with none other than the Tigra Partali herself, Amara.
The goat.
She's a former vault hunter and exotic pet.
Also, now we can see this too. So we have grenades on R1 and our ability in L1.
Tigra Partali herself, Amara.
Also
She's a
pistol
former vault
mode,
hunter and
of course, in the
exotic
in
pet
our
Borderlands 3.
assault rifle right
She
there.
came to Kairos in search of Lilith and is now helping us take down the Timekeeper.
Oh, that's a grappling, right? Yeah, that's a grappling hook for sure.
Don't you whine at me, homies. We'll play in a moment, huh? Oh, you agree to pet sit for a few weeks, and the next thing you know, you're having full conversations.
Give me a sec real quick to just get this guy out of the way. There we go.
With animals.
You don't use security like that unless
Amara,
you got
my
something
goat.
to hide. This must be the path to the black side.
Agreed. But if Lilith is on the other side, I don't mind some property destruction.
Ooh, your specialty. Please.
Is this the first time that we have 3 sirens on a game? Like on our side? So there's Lilith, Amara, and this one. Because on BO3 there was a siren, but it was on the enemy side.
Be my guest.
Amara has her usual abilities, if I'm not mistaken. The arms, yeah.
Come, let's throw some light on this black site of his.
He runs so wacky too. Like he's running so wacky.
Creeps. Clear them out.
Okay, Peachfruit Gorge? I think was the name?
This place is crawling with creeps. Clear them out.
Peachfruit Creep.
Co-op has always been at the heart of Borderlands. and
Whoa.
We put a ton of work into making it better than ever. Our improved lobby was just
So this ability is like you can detonate it and you can like throw it back to you and then reuse it, if I'm not mistaken too.
You can also set your own campaign difficulty.
Snow Floor Creep Elemental Eater. Does that mean that if I attack it with like a cryo weapon, for example, being the same type, I will deal no damage to it?
Independently of the rest of the party. This way, everyone can
Oh, did she change
tune
the element of
experience
it?
to their life.
Where in the UI can I see
Independently
that?
of the rest of the party.
Okay, so she brought it back with L1.
This way,
It matches the elemental weapon
everyone
here.
can
So you
tune
can
the
change
their own
elemental
campaign
modes
difficulty
on
independently of
certain
the rest of the
weapons,
party.
right?
This way,
So this SMG that the character is using is Kuroto.
everyone can tune the experience to their liking.
And you don't have to worry about loot
Mhm.
ninjas stealing your drops, as loot is always instanced for each.
Also, loot being instanced, it's good, but I would like to have the ability to trade weapons. If it's like, for example, something that it's best in slot for me and I have it with my friend, why wouldn't I be able to have it if technically we kill the same enemies, right?
players. Plus, if you ever get split up, you can easily fast travel to your friends.
And two-player split screen returns so you can enjoy couch.
Oh, 12. Okay, so baddest challengers are back. That's really good too. EU. So I guess kill a lot of creeps. Basically, that's what it means.
Co-op. Regardless of how you play, we just want you to be able to hang with your buddies and have a great time.
Okay. No, this was incredible. It's cool. I mean, brother's name is Tim though. Like this thing is named Tim. Just saying, dude. But it says contagious. When I see contagious, I would assume that it's a Kuroto sort of prefix, but it's fire. Its element is fire. It also has like a machine gun and a speaker for some reason. Honeycomb Creep. Alright, why contagious? Why contagious? This is a grenade again? It's not that deep. Interesting challenge. Okay, it died. Why is it contagious?
Everyone else heard the talking creep, right?
Tim feels
Oh,
like the
I didn't see anything. What was there, like a cue or something, like a visual cue of what it did? Okay, it continues spinning. I don't see anything clear.
Everyone else heard the talking creep, right?
Tim feels like the product of Lichter's twisted mind. Another of his experiments.
And there's Cash.
If he's doing this to creeps, I shudder to think what he's doing to Lilith. We need
There's
to
a
get
grenade
inside.
right there.
That air vent. Let's check it out.
Oh yeah, bring that down. Spooky area.
Hermes is really creeped out.
Okay, so here's the first look to the machines, like the first face-on look. So two, I would say, lady grenades and a guy in a suggestive pose. Interesting. That's just a pill. Dude, it could have been so much more.
Not me, obviously. Hermes.
Honestly.
Now that we're in the black site, let's take a moment to talk about loot.
Oh yeah, this UI is awful, bro. Alright, so let's try and find something positive about this instead of just like critiquing it or whatever. I do see like new things, like new items and stuff, so these are your usual weapons. So you always have 4. Then you have class mod, grenade, trinket, like any sort of trinket, right? Shield, and what else? That's the 4, no? That's the usual 4. So like trinket, shield, class mod, grenade mod. But there are 5 here. And also look at these rewards. I think that's the same system that was in BL3.
In Borderlands 4, each piece of gear comes
Fang. Daedalus. Secondary fire consumes pistol ammo. Okay, but most likely the fire damage, or I'm sorry, the overall damage drops, most likely?
from one of 8
Occulted Sinistry, Maliwan. 8. Damn, only 11% chance? Jesus. Torg Licensed Sticky Mag. Fires sticky gyrojets that explode on reload or when switching modes, which increases explosion damage by 3% each. What? Is that a change in the style of the weapon? It doesn't seem like it because it seems that it changes elements, not really the type of weapon that it is. But you throw sticky gyrojets and then once you reload it, they explode. Tier license accessory. So this is new. This is the new system, by the way. You can use accessories on your weapon. Shooting legs. Thrown weapon has legs and shoots enemies until out of ammo. So this is the same weapon that is in BL3 that I mentioned before. It's sort of just like becomes a little robot with legs. Maliwan can switch between Corrodo and incendiary elements. Okay. Decent fire rate too.
manufacturers with their own characteristics.
Alright, so Reaper, is this bandit? Putrefying Veldworm. Reaper, weapon charges before firing in full auto mode. Weapon charges before firing in full auto mode. Is that like the laser equivalent in BL3 where you like leave your click or your button press and then you shoot it and it becomes like a larger projectile or something?
And trademarks.
And then the pistol order. Weapon can charge up to fire multiple rounds at once. Yeah, that's the one that I'm thinking of. Recited Lemma.
There's Jacobs with crit-friendly black powder weapons. The elemental expertise of
Maliwan.
Vladoff, who solved lower
My goat.
accuracy with more bullets. The toss to reload Tedior
Tedior.
or Torg with
Torg.
explosions. We also have
Explosions.
3 new ones. In order,
Oh, there's 3 new ones. Okay.
powerful charge and release blast, fully auto rippers, and the reliable, easy-to-use Daedalus, which can use multiple ammo types.
Okay, so let's run it back real quick. So there's Order, which is the charged one that I was talking about.
Order with powerful charge and release blast, fully auto rippers.
Oh, dude, look at that weapon. It has to be banded, right? It has to be like the banded equivalent.
And the reliable, easy-to-use Daedalus, which can
Okay, so the Daedalus was the one that you could switch from assault rifle ammo to pistol ammo.
use multiple ammo types.
But that's just the start. We've introduced an all-new licensed parts system. This allows for behaviors and abilities from multiple manufacturers to spawn in a single weapon.
Okay, so there has been instances of this before in the game. It's not technically brand new, right? A really good example is a Rocketeer. When you have like any sort of Jacob's lot of weapon, mainly assault rifles, and it has torque barrels, so it switches from shooting bullets to shooting torpedoes or rockets or grenades, for example. Now, this is, I guess, their way of sort of bringing back the customization when it comes to weapon parts. Of course, I mean, being a Build 2 player, I know all the weapon parts, shield parts and stuff like that by memory. I know that it's not really easy to do, and sometimes it's really tedious. So I remember, let's see, so 12:30. Let's go back to the weapons real quick.
In Borderlands 4, each piece of
All right, so right here, right here is the things that they were mentioning. So this has just Daedalus, but
gear comes from
let's
one of
check
8
this one
main-
right there. So this has Torg. So Torg magazine, a teeter accessory, and it's Mali one. Now, are the weapon parts the usual like barrel, stock, grip, and sight, or are we gonna have more? Because here it states it's a sticky mag, right?
manufacturers with their own character.
Right here it doesn't have
Characteristics and
anything extra.
trademarks.
That's just Reaper and then Order.
There's Jacob, powerful charge and release blast.
Okay.
We've introduced an all-new licensed
That seems to be like a Mali one grip for sure.
parts system. This allows for behaviors and abilities from
Torg
multiple
barrel.
manufacturers to spawn in a
Blood of sight, or is it
single
barrel?
weapon.
I mean, I guess it might not be like just entire weapon parts. Maybe it's just accessories. For example, like this little thing might not mean that it is a Hyperion sight, but it just has like a Hyperion accessory. Okay, so this is like Torg magazine. Mali one, I guess, under barrel. Maybe this is like a stabilizer. And then blood of what, engine or weapon itself?
For instance,
Chamber?
this flat-off assault rifle features a Torg mag, Hyperion shield, and a Mali 1 elemental switch.
Did he say Torg shield?
Assault rifle features a Torg mag,
Torg mag.
Hyperion shield.
Hyperion shield. A weapon with a shield.
For instance, this flat-off assault rifle features a Torg mag, Hyperion shield, and a Mali 1 elemental switch,
Okay, so that's an elemental switch.
meaning it shoots fast and explodes things. The higher the rarity, the more parts that can randomly spawn, creating wilder and wilder loot.
Okay, so they replace the weapon part system with weapon accessories.
And that's before even getting into alt fire mode,
Oh, there it is, so cute.
underbarrels, and elemental damage.
Under
The possibilities
barrels.
are truly endless.
So, okay, so I got it right. There were under barrels.
To support
Okay, whoa, chill.
Possibilities are truly
Slower, bud.
Just-
Okay, so enhancement modifications, recurring bulwark. Weapons with Hyperion licensed parts gain 100% weapon shield capacity, plus 15% weapon status effect chance. Okay, so that would be like better on a Mali one weapon that has Hyperion shield attachment.
support playing
Whoa.
possibilities are truly
Let me see the white one.
to support. 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 To supp
Endless mag enhanced modification from order. Ammo generator. Weapons with order licensed parts slowly refill from reserve ammo while held. So they don't give you free ammo, but it is automatically chambered into your magazine. If they are, of course, order licensed.
Playing with your
Torg, elemental explosiveception. Explosiveception. Weapons with Torg licensed parts fire stickies that hit for a bonus 50% damage when first attached to an enemy. I mean, this would be decent synergy with the weapon at the start that stated that when you reloaded they would explode, no? But there's also this, look at this, Action Fest. The other ones didn't have this.
favorite manufacturer, we've added enhancements. This new type of gear.
Okay, this one is from Ripper. Precise Marksman's High Roller. Weapons with Reaper licensed parts increase weapon damage by 2% for each consecutive shot fired, so LMGs most likely, or SMGs with really big barrels, for a max 25%, 25 stacks. See, this wording is kind of weird because, okay, I receive increased weapon damage by 2% for each consecutive shot fired, but will each consecutive shot fired mean a stack? So if I hit 25 shots, will I get 50% weapon damage? That is interesting. Plus 30% ADS proficiency and plus 30% accuracy. That seems to be really good with assault rifles too. And 0 out of 3 airstrikes. So this one had 1 out of 3 fist. But this one has 0 out of 3 airstrike.
Replaces artifacts and provides bonuses to specific.
Oh, they jumped from the legendary. Damn it. Alright, Jacobs. Critical Elemental Leaper. Weapons with Jacobs licensed parts gain plus 40% chance to ricochet non-critical bullets. Okay. Plus 30%. That's a lot of crit. Oh my god. I mean, it's an epic one, but that's a lot of crit. 30% accuracy. Jacobs is not known for being accurate. When it comes to recoil, of course. I mean, they're extremely accurate. ADS wise, but recoil always hurts them. Plus 15% weapon status effect damage. That means we have a world where we have a Jacobs weapon with elements. Interesting.
Manufacturers. Take my current enhancement. It adds a kill bonus to all guns with deadless parts, along with more reload speed and critical damage.
Okay.
This lets you min-max your build around your favorite manufacturer.
Okay, look at this. Look at this. Look how he switched the weapon. So
This lets you
even like a
min-max your build around
tripod
your favorite
stands.
manufacturer, immediately turning just
It has to be
okay
blood up
guns
too.
into amazing weapons.
Finally, we've heard your feedback, and we've overhauled our drop rates and loot.
Oh, that's my WhatsApp. Let me just mute that real quick. Alright, it's muted. Good. Okay.
Across the game. We've worked hard to make sure all our gear feels better than ever, while also making rarity matter again. This makes for our most satisfying loot chase ever. And at the top of everything are legendaries.
Oh, the guy looks like a badass. But yeah, taking the his point, the narrator's point. There are certain weapons that are better within certain characters. For example, you wouldn't find me using, let's say, a Rolling Thunder if I'm not playing Krieg, right? But there was several instances in BO3 where I guess even purple weapons would be better than legendaries, because again, weapon identity is what Borderlands is known for. I need to see like really flamboyant and specific weapons for legendaries. Of course, it's good to have balance. For example, I love the Maggie, but the Maggie has its own story. Even though it doesn't have like crazy shooting or a lot of elemental damage or explosions or anything like that, that's because it's Jacobs. So that's the reason why it doesn't have to be flamboyant. It just does a lot of damage. It's a really cool revolver, and it has like a chamber, right?
These have always had unique effects that you won't.
Oh, look at that. A weapon
And
drops
at the
right
top of
there.
everything
Think
are
a blue one?
legendaries. These have always had
Oh, look, what is that? What is that? Okay, so let me see. If I would have to assume this would be like Order magazine, and it's a sniper rifle with a red dot. This also could be another attachment right there.
unique effects that you won't find on any other piece of gear. But in
Oh, that one looks like a boomacorn.
Borderlands 3, they drop too often.
Oh,
This not only
It sh-
devalues legendaries,
it actually shoots
it made
paint. I think it shoots
you
paint
won't
though.
find on any other piece of gear. But in Borderlands 3, they drop too often. This not only devalued legendaries, it made everything feel less valuable.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I mentioned, where every single boss can drop any legendary. Identity is just thrown out the window really fast.
In our new system, not only
That's
do
a
all guns
disco ball,
feel
dude.
great, but now legendaries will truly
Oh, let's see. So this seems to be like a rocket launcher sort of barrel. Is that like a shield? This seems to be like a shield. That's an assault rifle. That to me seems like an SMG. This seems to be like a shotgun. Like maybe these are the two barrels.
be special events. We've added the magic back.
Okay, let's check out the legendary.
We've added the
Is that the shotgun that he was using?
magic back to our loot chase, and we know you'll love grinding all that great gear on Kairos.
But let's get back to combat so I can show you my
Alright, is there anything that I'm missing now after the change in scenery?
favorite
No, I don't think so.
ordnance. This is the new gear slot for grenades and heavy weapons like rocket launchers.
Ordnance, so new slot. What do you mean by new slot? Because I mean it has always been in its own slot with like grenade mods and stuff like that. But including rocket launchers, that's really good. So I can run like what, 4 weapons and a grenade launcher? Most likely in cooldown, I think.
Instead of taking up a gun slot and ammo, ordnance now has
Sunbeam
cooldown
creep.
times. No more saving the big guns for boss fights. Now you can blow stuff up as often as you want.
Galvanic Thorn. There's the ability that you can recall. Oh, leveled up. Okay, so currently she's 25.
Before we go further, let's talk a little bit about action skills.
Oh, please.
Every Vault Hunter has
Oh, this UI is not good, dude. Okay, so again, let's try to find positives about this. I really like having my character like face up front to me, because then if like an ability changes their kit or something, I can actually see how it looks. That's pretty cool. In BL3, most characters would change their looks depending on the abilities that you would use, right? But damn, I know the entire theme it's cybernetic, but it's so blocky, and this is really underwhelming. This might sound bad, but she looks the same way in every single one. Like, I understand that this means that she will most likely create doppelgangers that are minions. This is focused on like the explosive side and wing side of her, and this will spawn the kitty, right? You have the system of the 2 bonuses like you did in BL3, but damn, those are a lot of points to be invested. Like, what is that? If I want to get here, okay, I have access to the first one in this area, so that will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 13, 16. So 16 points, 16 levels to get into the first area. And if I want to get into this, most likely it will be like what, 16, then 21, most likely at least 5 points here, so 26, and then 5 points here into this area, into the last row, so that will be 31.
a set of 3 unique action skills. These are class-defining abilities.
Okay, Vax creates a phase explosion dealing damage to nearby enemies and fully restoring her health. While active, Vex can use Eldritch Blast and gains increased movement speed. Press L1 to fire an air. Okay, that's the little ball that she has. Dealing damage to nearby enemies on impact. Dealing gun damage reduces. Oh, okay, so just. It's more of a constant thing. So as long as I'm dealing gun damage, it's gonna reduce its cooldown. Pressing Alt L1 to end Incarnate early, partially refunding cooldown. Okay, that's a lot of damage. This is good to see too. The damage is being toned down a little bit because BL3 numbers were insane in early game. You would be dealing like 50k in early game if you wanted. Okay, so cooldown reduction, movement speed, cooldown 55 seconds, duration 25. So you would be on a 30 second off time, which can be reduced by 2.5% per certain gun damage. This is where I would like to see like how much damage I need to do to proc this 2.5%.
With devastating effects. Up until now, I'd been using Incarnate to deliver powerful phase blasts. But let's switch
Okay. Real quick.
to deliver powerful phase blasts.
Okay, so Phase Familiar. Vex is joined by her minion Trouble. When killed, Trouble will respawn after a cooldown. So it has its own HP bar. Press L1 to teleport Trouble, dealing damage in an area. Okay, so like a big boom. Trouble then transforms into a badass, fully restoring health and gaining increased damage for a duration. So you would like to have the normal one, and then when it's slow, you would just boom, teleported, full HP. Okay. Activating Phase Familiar will respawn Trouble if currently dead. So, oh, that's a really low respawn cooldown. 20 seconds only? Wow. Trouble damage 98, teleport damage. So the usual damage is really low compared to the big boom. Badass damage multiplier will be like 50%, so it would be like around 206 damage. 45 second cooldown and a 20 second duration. Okay.
But let's switch it up to phase familiar and pull out Trouble.
Okay. Hasty Fiends. Vexing her minions gain increased movement speed and damage reduction. See, this is what I mean. This is a skill that could work also with the blue tree, because I guess they would also, the doppelgangers would also be minions, no? 8% is also really high. For example, my damage reduction on Claptrap per point, I think it's 4 or 5, something like that. I think it's like 4 or 5.
As you can see, each action skill has its own branching skill tree, giving you more build freedom
Vex deals increased action skill damage the higher her health. Okay.
than ever before. On top of
Overpowered.
passive skills, you can
Okay, there's the augment. So of course you don't have, similar to BL3, you don't have to invest a point in your augment. You just have it once you invest enough points in the skill tree overall. So this is a command skill. So similar to Flax command skill. Pressing Alt L1 to command Trouble to blink strike target enemy dealing damage. Blink strike always critical strikes enemies below 50% HP. That's pretty good for bossing. That's really good for bossing.
further customize action skills with augments and capstones.
Violent Outburst. Pressing Alt L1 to command Trouble to explode himself. Jesus Christ, dude, relax. To explode himself? Also, he's a boy. Interesting. Dealing ordnance damage. So ordnance damage, if I remember correctly, is the damage of the grenade thingy that you have to all nearby enemies and restoring health to Vex. While Phase Familiar is active, sacrifice 33% of his maximum health instead. Okay. I mean, that's a lot of damage, dude. And 75% of your maximum health.
These are socketed enhancements that add new behaviors and functions to your action skill.
Different
Okay, so this is what I wanted to check. So,
that add
like, right there, Trouble
new
looks the
behaviors
same,
and
right?
functions to your action skill.
different builds
Okay. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but Trouble looks the exact same way he did before the augment.
Completely change how combat plays out.
Which that's
resulting
something I
in
don't
near
really like.
endless freedom to
Requires 10 points in branch. Okay, so it's 10 here to get the augment. Most likely it's going to be 10 in every single skill tree too, over here. And it's named a capstone. Trouble now gains overshield whenever he deals damage. While Face Familiar is active, Trouble gains an elemental aura, dealing ordnance damage over time to nearby enemies. I think ordnance damage means that it matches your weapon element. 80% of the damage dealt. Okay. And 31 aura damage every 0.5 seconds.
experiment. You can swap unlock augments or capstones on the fly, or completely respec your skill trees at hubs
Interesting.
around Kairos.
This gives us a chance to talk about
Okay, Face Covenant. Vex is attuned to the elemental type of her current gun, converting all action skill and melee damage into that type. Interesting that melee damage is suggested too.
traits. Each Vault Hunter has a unique passive ability called a trait. For Vex, her action skills attune to the element of her equipped weapon. So by swapping guns, I can change Trouble's damage from kinetic to shock, fire, or any other elemental type.
Okay, that purple one is called Kinetic.
And also, you can pet the cat.
Oh, pet him.
Dead end. Or is it?
Or
Let's see where this
is
event
it?
takes us. Gods. Are those test tubes?
Okay, what was that though?
Those test tubes?
Okay, so that was an L cooldown. That's a teleport. Okay, that was a teleport boom. Snow floor creep. Galvanic thorn shield creep. The slime is back too. Now this is something that I mentioned before. I think we're gonna be seeing it, but for reference, look at the shield explosion. So when she goes down and slams, did you guys hear that didn't sound? I'm gonna rewind it real quick. That peeling that sounded, that's the that booster shield Q sound when you like drop a booster shield. But that only happened when she slammed. So is her shield dull? Because the booster is shown right there, like it's also here. Look at this. It's right there. That's what I'm referring to. Oh, that's a really cool reload. What the hell was that? Oh, dude. Quickened. That's a modifier for sure. Hermes.
I'm down. But thankfully, our fight for your life mechanic makes a return.
Good,
Of
good.
course, I could have
And
avoided
there's
it in the
medkits.
first place if I had just used my ref kit. This new piece of gear provides
Okay.
health and other buffs, like temporarily boosting
Oh, it boosted your shield too. Look at this.
my ref kit.
It gave you overshield too.
This new piece of gear provides health and other buffs, like temporarily boosting my elemental damage, rate of fire.
Here's
or
the rocket
movement
launcher machine gun.
I'm almost afraid to ask what's in the tube.
Oh, look at these guys. Are those
Oh, those are bandits.
crystals growing out of them?
Brother, ew, what is that?
By the way, if you're looking to experience the story again or just grind for loot, we've added full mission and boss replay. That's right, no more save loading to run bosses. Now you can return to the arena and use Moxie's big encore machine to spawn another run.
Okay, so this is huge, right? This is probably one of the most requested slash sort of divisive mechanics that people have been wanting to see in the game for quite a long time. Of course, you would have to usually save and quit. This became a big problem in the pre-sequel where there were one-time encounters all over the place, right? Like Felicity, Rampant, and stuff like that. So when they say that you will be able to respawn or like replay the boss, will it be the entire mission, or will you just select that specific mission and the end boss will respawn within the anchor machine or the anchor mechanism in Moxie's place? That's the real question.
But we'll talk more about Endgame later. For now, let's jump
Oh,
in.
dude, this is what I mentioned. Okay, quick disclaimer. This is what I mean, that when when developers give you more movement tools, it's not because they like you most of the time. It's just that they really want to be more flexible on how boss fights work and how the environment works, right? They're not giving you like sliding or double jumping or wall riding or grappling just because. They will be definitely used as mechanics for bosses. That's absolutely like 100% for sure.
Ahead and show you something truly
Mark my
epic.
words. Like, I have
In
never
Borderlands 4,
seen
our boss
a boss that you have to dodge so much stuff like this one ever in Borderlands. Ever.
are bigger and better than ever, putting all your new skills, gear, and abilities to the ultimate.
Like, look at those projectiles, bro. What is that? Okay, that's a boom.
Whoa. Spoilers. That's enough of that for
Oh my god. Look at that.
now. But we look forward to showing you much more this June at our first hands-on gameplay event.
Oh, so we have a Hyperion shield here, or that just shows like your health and shield?
And from everyone at Gearbox, thank you.
Is there any Easter eggs in the shirts or something? That's one from Flak. It's just a usual one. Just a bandit one. Vault symbol. I don't see any Easter eggs, right? No, I don't think so. Just pretty cool dudes in ladettes.
for joining us.
Ooh. Break free. Damn, dude. Yeah. I honestly think that the game looks really fun.
and exotic.
Like the game really looks a lot of fun. I think when we first saw Borderlands 3, people were focusing a lot on the graphics and stuff like that. And these are the exact same graphics, but a little bit more cleaner color-wise than Build 3. So we're not really focusing on that this time around. I think the entire community is focusing more on farming by ability, gameplay, character customization, stuff like that, weapons, weapon identity, quality of life changes. I think that's usually what you should be looking at when analyzing stuff like this. And at least to give you like a recap, positives for me are, I mean, it's definitely one, legendary weapon identity. They really went into detail that it was a key focus, so we shall see if that's true. But I'm really glad to hear that's an important focus for them. Number two, the possibility of having the rocket launcher on a separate slot outside of your main 4 weapons, it's huge too, because that makes me have more weapon variety, so I could run more like utility weapons or more fun sort of gimmicky weapons outside of just the meta ones. Crossplay, it's always extremely important, and now that the game will release also with the Switch 2, we'll have to wait and see how that handles with lag and stuff like that, how the servers will work with that. Characters, I think there's a positive outside of what I mentioned earlier, which is they mentioned, well, they sort of hinted on release We can take this in multiple ways, but being a positive lad, I would like to say that if they mention specifically 4 characters on release, it means that we will have the DLC characters in the future. Um, there was no mention of a season pass. I really have not checked the store to see if there's a season pass. I did bite the bullet when the game came out, BL3. I did buy the like ultra premium edition or whatever the hell it was called, where you would get the entire season pass. I also did this for the pre-sequel, and I only got 1 DLC. So with BL3 we got like what, 3 plus skins and stuff like that. I think the value is always there if you're gonna play the game a lot, like myself, like a lot, because you don't have to worry about in the future if you're maybe like tight on cash or something like that. You can just buy the game with the pass, normally at a cheaper price with the pass included on release day, or until it's on discount in the future. Like sometimes they do that on Steam too. I have seen it before. But I can take this as a positive, but there was no mention of a season pass. Of course, DLCs and stuff like that will be paid. You will have to pay for them. But hopefully we can get more content free, such as skins and things like that. I'm gonna take that as a positive, marketing wise, because normally we always see like a season pass being mentioned in most gameplay trailers when they are this long. The team seems extremely proud of the work they have done. At the end of the day, Randy always has a really positive mindset. Maybe not that much on Twitter sometimes. Quite a divisive, critical person over there, but the team seems to be really believing in the product that they have built over here after a lot of years of BL3. What else? Weapon variety. The regular weapon variety seems to be a new system where you would have accessories. I guess it's better on paper, of course, when compared to weapon parts, because they are mentioned. You don't have to probably learn them. I think the accessories will be the same on all weapons, so it's more of a visual cue that you will see once you grab the weapon, but they are stated on the description of the weapon itself. That's cool. So you would have like an explosive Tor weapon or something like that in the future. That might create, and this is my segue into the possible negatives, and I want to say this quite clearly: possible negatives, because again, we have not played the game, right? We have not played the game at all, so I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but it's my assumption. These are like my point of view on previous games and stuff like that. So segue into that is the process of getting a best in slot weapon is going to be extremely hard with so many modifiers. So they need to add, this is something that I really criticize, and not only myself but the entire community, a way to reroll your weapon with most likely like Iridium or a third party currency. So in the past it has been Iridium, Moonstones, right? Or even cash if you really want to not include like a third one. But you need a way to reroll those modifiers and accessories, or be able to receive them in maybe like as items, and just add them directly to your weapon if it has the slots for it. Because BO3 suffered so much because of this. The amount of anointments that were in the game was absolutely staggering. It was almost impossible. If you were playing a lot like me in the first year and a half of the game being out, it was impossible to get a best in slot weapon. You might tell me like, hey, Feed, like, I think that's part of the game when you play like Diablo or something like that, or PoE, or like WoW. You really feel like being in an exclusive club when you get a weapon that is best in slot because of the amount of modifiers. And I understand that. Naturally, the amount is not the problem, it's the process on how you change them or get them. Because in BO3 you would literally have like 1,000 anointments. Again, that's hyperbole, but like a lot of anointments and there was no way of changing them. You would have to farm for the same weapon. I literally farmed for a 2-star shotgun for, I believe, like a month and a half with Amara, and I got, I believe, 2 of the 3 anointments that I wanted. Then they understood the impact of this and introduced the Earl, the crazy Earl reroll thing, where you would use Iridium to reroll anointments for random ones, right? Which is fine. These can go like 2 ways. For example, they can do that, but Iridium was extremely annoying to get in BL3. Like, you would have to punch pillars, which was a long animation, or get them via boss, which I mean is the usual ones like in BL2 and stuff like that. But they can do that, or they could do the same process but put a failsafe gate on it, which would be like if you go above, like, let's say 25 tries, you'll be able to select one specific anointment that you want, or accessory in this case, right? And it would stay there, and you could reroll and it would stay there, or have the ability to lock, because most of the time you might get like a weapon that you might want one of the 3 anointments or accessories in there, but the other 2 you don't really want them. So maybe you have the ability to lock them via payment and reroll the other 2. So there's a lot of potential with this sort of system, and we saw it once on BL3 when the crazy reroll system came in. But damn, it took such a long time to get a best in slot. I think my longest farm wasn't even in BL2. I think I got the Cobra in like a month, playing around like 4 to 5 hours a day, with maybe like 6, 7, 8 days of rest. And that shotgun that I mentioned before, just re-rolling, took me like a month and a half. Yeah, just like farming bosses, gathering iridium, finding the correct one that I wanted to use. So yeah, that's definitely a possible negative. Other possible negative that didn't change in my mind after the gameplay trailer is the character. Again, the character sort of portrait. Let's see. So like here's the thing, right? When you see this, you sort of again get the basic knowledge of how the character might play out. Again, this one, immediately you know that that's the Siren, right? This guy has a lot of resemblance to Brick. Like a really big buffy dude. So he looks like more of a berserker type, again, like Brick. This guy seems to be the machine-based one, so probably like movement speed, gadgets, illusions, stuff like that. But what is this? Right? Like, this has so little customization up front that you have no idea what possible abilities you might have, and it doesn't stand out at all compared to these 3. Now, I'm not saying the kit is gonna be boring. I'm not saying the kit is gonna be like one-dimensional, because there's nothing really like that even in BL3. All kits are really cool, for example. But visually, I need that appeal of like Krieg, you know, his crazy melee. Of, for example, let's say, who comes to my mind? Aurora. You see Aurora, even before BL3, you could literally play her in the pre-sequel, and you know she's an ice type. She uses ice and long-range weapons, and she's sort of like this sassy badass just by looking at her face and her outfit. You could literally see that. What else? Axton, you immediately see the turret gadget similar to this guy on his shoulder / on the belt. So you know he's going to be like a minion type, turrety type of guy. Zero, immediately you see the cybernetics, You know that he's sort of like an alien slash droid because of the helmet. Plus, the sword is really iconic, and you know that he's gonna be melee based, right? But if you see this right here, this is when I try to sort of assume what it's going to be like playing this character. And I just see the tubes. I would assume that maybe you get like injections or extra buffs from this. And having this really big kit, most likely you have like movement speed or can jump really fast or really high, sorry. But outside of that, I have no idea what she is, right? So that's definitely a negative for me because in BO3 was the same way. I think that only Amara really sort of made a statement being a siren there. Again, Flag could have been exchanged for any sort of robot, and we wouldn't have noticed if it was a hunter or not. Zane has that sort of handsome Jack kit, and you could get more humor out of him than the other characters, for example, in dialogue. But that's definitely a negative for me when it comes to this specific character. And lastly, a possible negative, where is it? The skill trees. This HUD makes the skill trees look so convoluted. Of course, here you can see like class mod pluses and stuff like that. There are more augments than in BO3. This is really good for customization as long as most of these are not like you will receive more healing from your medkit or you will deal more critical damage. Instead of being interactive, for example, if you gather a syringe, it will become a medkit and it will give you a damage boost if you use it. That would be cooler than just heal more with the medkit. Or if we're talking about crit, after dealing, let's say 25% of the enemy's HP, your next 2 shots will be automatic crits. So it will make the character be more lenient on using full automatic weapons if you're running that. So it changes your entire mechanic. So I don't really want to see like just flat, more shield, more crit, more movement speed. If you're gonna do that, make it like a secondary one. I'd rather have less abilities or less quote-unquote customization than just have set customization be 20 skills that just provide passive bonuses. So that's going to be a possible negative, of course. And I think the most obvious one is just the HUD. Of course, I don't think the HUD or the person in charge of the HUD is going to be watching this video, but I think a lot of people, mainstream media like Jolts and K6 and overall on Twitter and Reddit, people have been sort of dumping a doofy on on this specific HUD slash menu. Again, I understand the cybernetic aspect of it, but god damn, it looks so boring. Like, again, it looks so boring. Like, all of these abilities look the same to me because it's the same color, just white and green. There's no for example, this could have easily been red. If it's like a blade, like sort of a blade stacking, just have it red, dude. Just have it red, honestly. If this is, again, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, if this was like a more crit ability, have this section over here be red, the skull can stay white, and this color green right over here, meaning that green means boost, red means more damage. That's automatically what your head thinks if you're a gamer, honestly, instead of just being purely white. Again, this is everything. Everything is just like one color and white, one color and white, one color and white. So yeah, I just want to see. I just want to feel Borderlands like it used to be in BL2, where every single ability, even though it was sort of the same color scheme, the graphic was so wacky. Like the graphics were so wacky on these small abilities even. And your character would even change lines when using different abilities, and the colors were more vibrant, right? But I think that's more of like my general feedback. I'm not too sure when we're gonna get the next trailer, or if we are gonna get one. I know the game is released in September, I believe 2 weeks earlier than the schedule, because Randy mentioned this on Twitter. But yeah, that means also we're gonna have to speedrun a lot of the characters for our challenge too. I mean, we're gonna be finishing Claptrap tomorrow. We just have the DLC and the raid bosses left. So yeah, tomorrow's gonna be the Claptrap, most likely Claptrap's last day of the series, and then we're gonna move probably like to BL3 to compare this to BL4. But yeah, that was more of my feedback and what I really noticed within the trailer, guys. Let's see, because I'm a tad bit tired, I ain't gonna lie. So I think that was what I really wanted to do, because again, today was my first day at work on my new role. So again, times are changing. A little bit harder to speak because I've been speaking a little bit more today. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will try to break this into pieces, most likely into shorts, so it's more of a digestible explanation and analysis and feedback from my side. And I will be posting this as a YouTube video rather soon, okay? So thank you so much for watching, boys, and yeah, I love y'all. Bye bye.